Good evening. Welcome to this week's One Image My Edit. So this week I'm going to be showing you how to create dust particles in an image. So this is a little bit of a follow-on from the previous tutorial that I'd done. Well, it's not the previous, a couple of weeks ago. It was the snow, adding snow to an image. It's a very similar process to that. So it's fairly easy to do. So if you're new to Photoshop, not Lightroom. If you're new to Photoshop, then this is something that you can do. And I'm going to show you how to create a brush and then save it so you can just pick it up whenever you need it and just use it. So before I get started, if you want to be notified every time that I'm live, then simply go to this link here, type follow, and I'll send you a text message every time that I'm going live. So I'm going to get on with this then and show you how to do it. Now it's really nice effect to have, especially with images like this, and ideally what you want are images that are inside, because dust particles, they're going to be inside. They don't really work outside. You can use them, but it's not really a natural occurring thing to have. Okay, it's going to be inside. So the first thing we want to do is just create a new layer. So you can just press Control Command N. Oh, I've just pressed that on a completely wrong window. 1 second. Get actually into Photoshop. So Control N, there you go. And we've got 500 by 500. That will do. Just click Create, and that's just going to create this blank document here. So once we've done that, we're going to come up to the brush tool here. And I've actually got it already there because I've been playing with it today. Now at the top here, you can see this is where your brushes are. So let's go for a soft round brush. Click on that. And then we want to make sure at the top here, the flow is down to around 40%, something like that, something along that. Then come down to the bottom here, make sure that this color here is set to black. Okay. And then what we want to do is make this brush a little bit smaller, quite small actually. So let's just bring this size down so we can do it up there, or you can press the bracket keys on your keyboard, and that will also make the brush smaller. Okay, so I want them quite small because obviously it's dust particles. Now what I'm going to do is just paint some dots. So I'm just going to click. There you go. There's one there. Maybe one there, and just so Control Z if you do that, a little bit there. So I don't want these to be perfect. I don't want them to be perfectly round circles, and I might even just make the brush a little bit smaller for that one, and maybe there, and maybe there. I don't know, one there. Well, that's too much. There. So if we actually look in close, you can see there that it's they're just splodges. They're not perfect dots because dust isn't it's not a perfect round circle, is it? Okay. So once we've done that, we can then basically define this as a brush. Now what I want to do is just jump back to the start here. So I forgot to create a new layer. So if you go to Layer, New, and then Layer, let's do it on a new layer so we can then grab that. So I'm just going to quickly do that again. So there, I'm just picking random places. And maybe one, I don't know, there. Okay, so once we've done that, there we go. So we've got it on a new layer. What we'll then do is go to Window and then go to Brushes. Okay, click on that. And then from here, we want to go to Select Brush Settings. So up here. So I know again, do you know what? I'm not thinking tonight. Before we do that, we need to define the brush. Sorry, it's because I've been messing around. So go to Edit, and from here we want to go to define brush preset. Okay, so let me have a look. Define brush preset. No, it's not pattern. Edit, define brush preset. So what we've done is basically created a layer, plopped a load on, and there we go. Okay, so I'm going to call this dust live. Press OK, and there you go. Look, you can see, look, it's made the brush now. So that's how you make the brush. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to change some of the features of the brush. So we just go to Window and then come up to the brushes, and what we're going to do is go to brush settings. Sorry, Lightroom's having a sorry, Photoshop's thinking about it. Come on, Photoshop. Okay. Well, that was good, wasn't it? All right, I'm going to relaunch Photoshop. Sorry about that, guys. My new computer is on its way. Sorry about this, guys. This is what happens when you do when you go live. I'm just going to share my screen again with you. 1 second, guys. There we go. Okay, you can't hear me, Bev? Is that right? I'm just checking the audio. Audio on my side is fine. I think you may be on mute. Can anybody else hear me? So you can skip the last 5 minutes. Sorry about that, guys. That's what happens with applications, isn't it? And it's stuff that I'm running at the minute as well. So let me just open up. Let me just open up this file again, so you'll be able to copy me. New computer's going to be here next week. Okay. Yeah, Bev, I think it's your sound. Right. So what we're going to do then is we're going to start off Command or Control N, and that's going to give us, just make width and height 500 by 500. That's just a tiny little window there. Okay. And then I'm just going to pop that there, and then go to Layer, New Layer, or you can press Shift, Control, and N. That creates your new layer there. Okay, we're going to come to the brush, come down to here, make sure that's black. Come up to the brush at the top here. We've got hard round. Let's use soft round brush. So it's 10 pixels. Just bring the flow down to 40%. Ish, around there, doesn't matter. Make this a little bit smaller, so I'm using the bracket keys just to make it smaller. And then, oh, sorry, you want me to slow down the clicking as it misses on video, or I miss it? Okay, no problem. So I'm just clicking once there, making the brush a little bit smaller. Click, click, maybe a little bit bigger. Click. There. So I'm just making a random pattern. There, that will do. Maybe there. Okay. So what we've got is a variation there of what I see as dust. Okay. So once we've done that, come up, we go to Edit, and then Define Brush Preset, which is all the way down here. Can you see? So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to call this Dust Live 2. That's okay. So now we've done that, we've actually made the brush, and you can see it here. Look, if I move to the side, you can see basically the patterns that we created on there. That is our brush. Okay. So once we've done that, we want to come back over to our main image that we want to edit. Okay. Let's go to Layer, New Layer. Just press OK. All right. And now what we're going to do is we're going to change some of the settings on that brush. All right. So let's go to window and then brushes, click on that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open this up a little bit. So what you'll find is that you'll have all these different options of these brushes here. So yours is probably going to be laid out like this. So, you know, it comes with Photoshop, comes with brushes. I've got brushes that I've made as well. So the one that we just made was this one here, like Dust Live 2. And here's last week's, couple of weeks back. So that's the snow brush. So Dust Live number 2. And if you're a VIP member, I'll be posting this brush up into the group for you. So you will be able to just download this brush. You won't have to make it. You can make your own, and I encourage you to make your own. But if you're a VIP member, then I'll post this up and you can download this brush. Okay. So once we've done that, we come up to the top here where it says brush settings. So we've selected the brush and brush settings. So we click on that. No problem, Mark. You're welcome. I know I do need to slow down sometimes. Yeah, I know. And thanks for reminding me. I appreciate that because sometimes I do go a bit quick. Okay. So what we're going to do is we've got all these options here, basically. Okay. That we can adjust. We can change the brush and it can work in different ways. Okay. So we're going to go to the first one here where it says shape dynamics. So I'm going to click on that and turn that on. And with this, we're going to select the jitter size. So the jitter size, what that does is if you look down here, you'll see what happens is that it makes it a little bit more dense. Can you see? Close it in. So what that's doing, that's actually making them circles smaller. It's quite hard to see there. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to put that up to 100%. And then we've got angle jitter as well. So if we boost that up, so the size jitter gives you the variation. Okay, and the angle jitter, if we push that up, what that means is if you can see these here, what's happening to them as I gradually move up is that if we go up to 100%, what that means is that every time we click, the brush is going to change angle. So it's going to move at, say, a 45 degrees and then a 30 degrees. It will just keep continuing to change. So you're not going to get a repeated pattern. So if you just click in one spot, you're not just going to be stamping and stamping and stamping. It's actually going to change the angle every time that you that you click. Okay. And then what we're going to do is come to the scattering here. So we're going to click on that. Okay, we'll activate that, and we're going to put the scatter up, and let's put that up to, I don't know, about 300-400. It's up to you. So this is going to basically it's going to scatter it more. Okay, it kind of does what it says. You can see that as I push that higher, that kind of scatters it down, and if I push them, it identifies it. So I think around halfway, so 400, that would do. That would be good. Now if you push the count up, this will actually make the brush a lot more dense. So if you look, if I keep putting the count up, it's the amount of dots that we created is going higher. So for instance, you could use that as this brush. Now you could use this to paint in stars, for instance. That's how stars are created within Photoshop. We basically do this and we put the count up. So I'm going to leave the count at around 3, something like that, just because I still want the dust particles to be very, fairly wide, fairly apart, so to speak. Okay, so once you've done that, you can then click up here and select new brush preset. Okay, and we can then save that. All right, save that to whatever we want. So we'll just call that dust brush. That's okay. So what that now means is that brush is now saved within your brush settings up here. Okay, so you can see that there it is, dust brush. So every time that we come up to here, we can just scroll down to the bottom and we can select that brush, and we've got it forever now. Okay, so them settings have been saved. Okay, so now here's the fun bit. So once you've done that and you've got everything that you need now to be set up, now what we want to do is obviously paint in the dust, but we want to paint in and keep it very similar to the color temperature or the color that's in the picture, because if we start doing black, obviously that's going to look really, really weird. If we do white, that's acceptable. But what I like to do is to use the dopper tool up here. So if you, it's not called the dopper tool, but it's called the eyedropper tool. I call it the dopper tool. What we can now do is select a color. So if I click on this couch here, that's going to select. If I click on this here, that's going to select. So what I like to do is look at the highlights, okay, because that is where the dust particles are going to be. That's where they're going to be present. They're not necessarily going to be in the shadow areas. The dust particles will be picking up where the sunlight is coming across. Okay, so what I do is find a highlight and select it. Now, if you look down here, that color is now changed. It's not actually pure white. It's an off white. It's a yellow white, isn't it? Okay, so now we've done that, we can come back to the brush, and this is now ready for us to paint in. All right, so if I click and just click and drag, okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in reverse because you can just see the dots there that I created. Can you see? So what I don't have to do is I don't have to click. I can click and just move my mouse around because we've set up the brush with the jitter. We've changed the angle and the count. So, you know, we're going to get different variations. So we don't have to worry about, say, just clicking and clicking. I mean, you can, but what I like to do is just add it in. So I'm just adding it in here. I'm going to put it all around here. And yes, it's not the finished article. We know that. I'm just adding in the dust. So I'm just clicking and dragging. All right, and it doesn't look like I've done it. If you go in really close, you can see there that we've added all this dust particles all around here. Look, can you see where I've just drawn it in? And we can see the variation there. It's changing all the time. Okay, so once we've done that, we've added the dust particles. Then what we need to do is create a layer mask. So by creating a layer mask, we can then paint out or take away the effect of these dust particles, and then we can, you know, keep it where we want to, which is going to be in the highlights. Okay, so to do that is easy. We just come down to here, look, okay, onto your layers down here, and if you can't see layers, go to window and just go to layers or press F7, click on that, and that's created a layer mask. And what that has basically meant is that everything that is present here can be seen because it's white. But if we then go to the brush tool, okay, and I'm going to select a different brush now. I'm going to select a soft round brush there, okay, and I'm going to change it to black. So the reason why I'm changing it to black is because the layer mask is white, okay, and what this means is now is that I can paint away the effect. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this flow down a little bit, maybe bring the opacity down. You don't have to. Maybe just bring it down a little bit. And now I'm going to zoom in. So I'm just in. And if I paint away, so if I paint, you'll see that these will start to go. So the reason why we have the opacity and the flow down is because we want it to be quite a smooth edit. We don't want it to be really solid, because the way dust acts, it's going to be present in foreground, background, things like that. So remembering that dust is only going to really be where the highlights are. So, around here, look, I'm going to paint some of that away. Now, the good thing is with having this opacity and flow is that we can leave some areas, but I'm going to paint it away from here because, it would only kind of be within this area here. So I may actually want to add some more back in there in a minute. But if we look, the majority of the dust particles up here wouldn't be present because they're in dark areas. Now, if you want to keep some of them, you can make the brush bigger and just go over them slightly. And because of this flow, we're going to have some. Now, remember, when it comes to editing, less is more. Okay, now, there's not going to be a lot around there. I'm going to leave some. Less is always more. Yeah. So what I would do is take it away from this section here, because the dust wouldn't really be seen that much. And what we can do is kind of try and direct the eye to where we want it to go. So we can almost like draw a line. Think, well, okay, let's get rid of the dust particles that are here, and maybe just go over these a little bit. Okay, so we only want a few. We don't want a lot. And see the highlight there. So let's Just go over the back areas just to darken a little bit. They're still present, but they're not as dominant. The dominant parts are going to be in the highlights. I know I keep saying that. And the reason why is because you want this to look real. You don't want it to look false. Now, even though I'm painting it out of where the sofa is, what I've kind of done is gone over this twice because I'm treating it as the sofa. I've treated the sofa first. I've taken away the dust particles from the sofa. But now these dust particles are going to be in the middle ground. So this is where the light is coming into the living room. So these would be seen, wouldn't they? That's what you'd be picking up. You'd be picking that up with your eye. Okay. And let's just, it's just a real tiny refine this is. So I'm just going to bring this opacity right down now and this flow right down. And I'm just going to go over areas just to kind of dull them down a little bit because, like I said, less is always more. It really is. So around here, I'll probably go over them. That's a bit strong. So we can see there, that's probably a little bit strong for me as well. The main area is up here. Okay. This looks a little bit false to me. So I'm just going to go in just a little bit and this bit here. Okay, now you can spend, like you can see, you can spend ages doing this. Now, if you look on the mask, you can see where I've painted. So this area here, the black areas is where I've taken away them areas. Yes, it is, Colin. Yeah, it's the same principle as a snow brush. It really is. But you don't need to, with this, you don't need to blur anything. It's already there because we're using this opacity and the way that we've set the brush up. We want it to be, want it to be present. So like here, this looks a little bit false to me, just because it's a bit heavy, that's all. So I'm just going to just go over it ever so slightly. That now looks a little bit more natural. Okay, and then I'll maybe take all of it away from one section here, one section there. And you can see that if I go in really close now, you can see that, look at them. There's a lot there. There's actually a lot there. But when we zoom out, we can't actually see these that much. So like this here, I mean, we want to take this, I'll probably push this up a little bit and take away some of the bulk of it there. Still have some in front, like around there. This is a little bit too strong for me, so I'm going to just edit these down a little bit. So it's just refining it. And these areas here, look, so you can see that just doing that. And what you can also do is bring the opacity down if you want to. So you can bring this down, and obviously if we go all the way, that's going to completely take them away. So we can really control the amount that we want now with this opacity filter here. So you can see there that 100% is okay. It is okay. It's acceptable. But looking at the picture from here, and if this was printed, it would look completely different because it's going to be at 100%. So that's what it would look like, and that just looks too false, doesn't it? So you can see that's the percentage you need to be working at in order for this to be a real looking kind of dust particle. So these need to come down. Okay, these are way too strong. Okay, you need to try and think in sort of that three-dimensional vibe, and really take away some of these because that's it. So where the highlights are here on the back here, so this is backlit, so these would naturally be slightly lighter as they're backlit. So would these here. These would be more dense, but closer to her would be lighter because obviously, well, no, actually it would be the opposite way. They would be lighter this way and darker here, but because her hair's lit, it works better for us to leave these brighter nearer the hair because our eye is following and it's going to be looking at the hair there. That's an anchor point. Okay. But in the real world, yes, they would be lighter towards the light because the closer it is to the light, the stronger they are. And you can see there that now I've actually quite, taken them away quite a lot. If you want to add them back in, just simply change the color to white and you can start painting them back in. So you can certainly have as much control as you need there. Like you can see, I've just added back in. So if I want to add them to these areas here again, I can. Okay, so that is how you do it. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. Once you set the brush up, you're good to go. You can then just, like I say, you can pick this brush and just use it anytime you want. But that's how you do it. Okay, so once you're finished there, you can just go to, you can either save the image as it is as a TIFF file, and that means then that the layers will be saved. You can come back and adjust this again at any time. If you're definitely finished, just go to layer, flatten image, and that's all done for you. But that is the image there, and it's looking really, really cool. Now, if I just come back a step, you can see I'm going to take the eye away. So you can see there's the before, there's the after, and you can see it is, again, it's a really, really subtle effect. Okay, you don't want to over this because it will look false. You just want to add a natural look to it. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed that. Sorry about the program crashing. Like I said, my new computer is on its way. It'll be here next week. I've got a shiny new iMac coming, so my laptop is going to be made redundant. So like I said at the beginning, if you missed it, if you want to be notified every time that I go live, you can just go to this link here and type follow, and you'll get a text message every time I'm live. And you can then stay up to date with the live tutorials. Also, my next 5-step blueprint to photography challenge is going to be Monday, the 22nd of March. So if you're interested in that, that is the free 5-day challenge where you can get off auto. Then go to dslrguruchallenge.com and you can sign up there for free. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I will post this brush up to the VIP group for you guys to use. But everybody else, stay safe, enjoy, and show me your images because I would love to see them. I'll speak to you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.